How's it going, guys? I am the Texas Man. Welcome back to the channel. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already, and you guys hit that bell notification button to get notified of any and all upcoming videos coming out here in the future here on the channel. In this video, we are of course going to be talking about the movie Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So this movie just came out last week, and so we're going to talk about some positives and negatives. Of course, this is all my personal opinion. You guys are more than welcome to your own. If you guys agree or disagree, please let me know in the comment section. And so we're going to be doing this, of course, based on a 1 to 10 scale. So for the score, 10 is the highest, 1 is the lowest. So let's get right into it. So honestly, I think they did an amazing job doing a faithful recreation of the drawings in the book series, especially from the first book, of all the monsters and bringing them live action into the film. So I think they did an amazing job at that. If you compare the monsters that are in the film to the book, they're very, very, very faithful. And I'm glad that they were able to do an amazing job at that. This film has a lot of scary moments. There are a few jump scares that unfortunately got me good. But for the most part, it's just a PG-13 kind of scary thriller. There's not a lot of scares or anything. It's just like, okay, that's spooky. Okay, that's creepy. And you're just, you're sitting there watching it and you're like, oh, this is a pretty good, horror film. The plot of the monsters killing people actually kind of makes sense for the world that this takes place in. And I think they did a good job. Like, I think the creepiest one for monsters' sake definitely is the big fat ugly lady, and then she doesn't kill you necessarily. She makes you disappear by literally absorbing you into her belly. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Ooh. Oh, and also the Scarecrow Herald, where if he kills you, then you become a scarecrow. I'm just like, well, okay then. Honestly, this is an amazing PG-13 horror film, filled with a lot of good PG-13 horror moments. And there are some moments, honestly, I think they could have made it where this film got an R rating, especially scenes where, people are getting absorbed by the woman in the hospital, or the monster that turns you into Scarecrow to kill you, or the Jingle Bell monster, or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. But there's a lot of moments and whatnot that they could have made it rated R, and I think it would have helped it differentiate itself from being too Goosebumps-like. Spectacular CGI and spectacular acting from all the actors and actresses. There's not really any well-known actors and actresses in this film. There are a lot of young people and a lot of, background characters and whatnot that you really don't care about. They're going to be disposed of, and they do. This film does not have any sex, or kissing or any of that type of nonsense. There is some PG-13 language in here, so do keep that in mind, of course. Honestly, it's a great film to watch if you're just starting to get into watching horror films. So, if you're 16, 17, 18 or whatever, you've never seen a horror movie in your life, and you're like, what is a good horror movie for me to watch to get my feet wet? This is definitely an amazing film to get yourself, used to what a horror film can be like and what it should be like. A lot of people think, oh, if I'm going to watch a horror movie, I need to watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or the Insidious films, or Saw, or, all those really violent ones. You don't need to do that. Start off with something that's a PG-13 type of horror film, like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, or something of that nature, or Goosebumps, and just see if the horror genre is something that you want to keep watching and supporting. Personally, I'm going to own and rewatch this a lot. I highly encourage you guys to go ahead and check this film out. It's really cool to see on the big screen, especially for the, quote-unquote monsters that are in the film. And honestly, own and rewatch it, especially if you like horror films and just a simple plot that, you can just sit down and enjoy and have a good time for about 90 minutes to 2 hours long. And then lastly, this film does have a bit of a, not so much a cliffhanger, but they kind of leave the door open in the sense that they can do sequel films for the second and third book, because there is a trilogy of books, and this is based off the first one. So, if this film gets enough, revenue and profits and whatnot, maybe they'll be able to do a sequel and make it into a trilogy, possibly. For negatives, first of all, this film feels very similar to the Goosebumps movies with Jack Black. It does have a lot of different elements, and it does differentiate itself from the Goosebumps films. But a lot of people that I know and a lot of people that I've heard in the workplace are like, oh, it's the PG-13 of Goosebumps. Kid goes into a spooky house, finds a book, reads some stories, they all come to life. Yes, that does happen in the movie, but it puts a unique spin on it, so it's not Goosebumps. And I think they did an amazing job at what they had to do. Also for negatives, the first 15 minutes is just boring. I literally almost fell asleep. It's a boring setup of setting up all the characters, the town, and finally starting up the actual plot. And there's a lot of stuff I think in the first 15 minutes they could have cut, because honestly I don't care about a lot of what they did, because it doesn't lead to anything spectacular at the end anyways. With this being a horror film and it's only PG-13, at least for me, since I've read all the books, it was very predictable. I knew exactly what was going to happen, beat by beat by beat. So if you want to go in watching this movie, don't read the books. Read the books afterwards, and it'll make it where your suspense and your curiosity of what's going to happen next kind of more enjoyable in the theater. This film, unfortunately, has a very boring teenager love story, and it made me smack myself in the forehead. I was just sitting there when the two lovebirds are falling in love in the first 15-20 minutes, and I'm like, yeah, these two people are safe. These two people, even if you haven't read the books, these two people are not gonna die just because of this one scene. I'm like, well, they're safe. Also, I think this film should have come out a lot closer to Halloween. I mean, it's like mid-August that this film has come out, and I'm like, we still got like another at least 10 more weeks before Halloween, and I'm just like, this is supposed to be a horror film. This needed to come out a lot closer to Halloween. I get that they're trying to not compete with It Chapter 2, but this film probably should have come out after It Chapter 2, or something. It needed to come out a lot closer to Halloween for profits and crowds. I mean, when I went, there was only like 6 other people in the theater, and I'm just like, this is really depressing. It's like, this is opening, the first week, and you're not getting a big crowd of people in. And that's really just sad. And lastly, this is a horror film, so characters constantly are making a ton of horror film tropes and mistakes and jokes and whatnot. So just keep that in mind. They're in this film just because it's a horror movie and Hollywood doesn't know how to make good horror films, apparently, anymore. So with that said, guys, I'm going to give Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark an 8 out of 10. You guys all have an amazing day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.